My name is Marceline Drake, 38 years old. At noon, the shop was all hush and heartbeat, mantel clocks ticking in layered rhythms, dust turning in a shaft of winter sun, and a tiny Viennese music box on my work mat waiting for a new spring. The box had lilies carved along its lid and a habit of sticking on a sour note when the tension ran too loose. I cranked the key a quarter turn, listened, then eased it back. Control the tension, and the melody will carry. That was what I told customers. It was what I told myself. It wasn't always this quiet or this mine. Years ago, I started the antique business with my ex-husband. We split everything. 50-50 after the divorce 3 years back. On paper, the split should have gutted me. Instead, I rebuilt my half into something no one could pry from me. Estate sales across 3 states, late-night listings, collectors who sent Christmas cards because I'd found the exact candlestick their grandmother owned. I expanded online, hired a part-time assistant, and learned how to repair mechanisms so I could add value instead of only moving inventory. The work kept me breathing when the house felt empty. Success, though, is the kind of perfume that draws moths. My family, mom and dad in their 70s, my brother Jake, 35, and my sister Emma, 32, had gotten used to me as the quiet solution. Every month I paid my parents' mortgage, $2,800, and their medical bills, because dad's diabetes didn't care about deductibles, and mom's arthritis translated into a pharmacy receipt that kept growing. I also covered Jake's truck, $650, because he'd bought something with more chrome than prudence. And Emma's rent, $9,900, because she worked in marketing for a modest firm and adulting is hard, had become a family punchline that wasn't funny to me anymore. Over $5,000 a month. Automatic drafts I no longer read because if I read them, I might say no. Saying no felt like treason. The computer chimed. I wiped the steel filings from my fingers and opened email. Subject line, Anniversary gift ideas. Mom. I expected a restaurant suggestion or a request for floral centerpieces. Instead, the body of the email was 2 neat lists. The first, for Jake and Emma to buy. A kitchen service set, a coffee maker, a microwave, throw pillows, maybe a few $100s in total if they chose the nicer brands. The second, special gifts from Marceline. A trip to the Maldives for 2, $15,000. A new car, diamond earrings. I read it twice, then a third time because I thought maybe I was having a low blood sugar hallucination. The music box hit its sour note in the background and stayed there as if it, too, refused to move forward. I made mint tea, let the leaves steep too long, and called Mom. Hey, I got your email. Oh, good, she said, bright as tinsel. We're so excited about the anniversary. I can't buy gifts that expensive. A Maldives trip, a car, those are thousands of dollars. Her voice sharpened so fast I could hear the blade. Marceline, you have a very successful business. You're doing so well, this wouldn't make a dent. I'll do something nice. Pick one from the special list. I'll buy it. She laughed, not kindly. Oh, honey, you're being silly. Those aren't either or. We want all 3. My mouth went dry. All 3, I repeated, like maybe the words would sound different the second time. You want the trip and the car and the earrings? And Of course. Your father and I discussed it with Jake and Emma, and we all agreed that's appropriate. Appropriate, I said very softly. After everything we've done for you, she continued, we gave you life, we raised you, we supported you, now it's your turn. I've been paying your mortgage and medical bills for years, I said. Jake's truck, Emma's rent. That's the least you can do. The least I can do is $50,000 in gifts? If you can't make the anniversary special, she said, icing the syllables, don't bother showing up. I stared at the email. The cursor blinked. Behind it sat the rest of my week. A pre-war china cabinet to restore, a collector waiting on an invoice, and a $3,000 deposit I'd made last week to reserve a private room downtown for their party. You know what? I said. Hold on. From the desk drawer, I pulled my ledger, the one I keep separate from my accounting software because the act of handwriting keeps me honest. I flipped to this month's page. Mortgage auto draft, truck, rent, doctors, and a line I hadn't really examined before, a transfer that didn't match a vendor. Sunfield Retreat. It sat there repeating, not small, not enormous, like a leak under a foundation. Easy to ignore until the floor buckles. Marceline, Mom snapped. Are you listening? I put her on speaker, opened my banking app, and canceled the anniversary dinner reservation. A polite pop-up told me there would be a 30% administrative fee. Fine. Another screen. Automatic payments. Tap. And the mortgage draft slid into the off column. Tap. Jake's truck canceled. Tap. Emma's rent canceled. Each time, the app produced a small digital flourish, like confetti. It was ridiculous. It felt like oxygen. Mom, I said, I'm not buying you anything. Not a trip, not a car, not earrings. Silence. Then the brittle, performative inhale I'd known since childhood. You're breaking my heart. You know I've paid your medical bills, I said evenly. There's nothing wrong with your heart. Her voice vanished. Then Jake came barreling through the speaker, too loud, too practiced. Come on, Mars, don't be dramatic. Just buy the stuff. It'll be epic. Dad'll cry, you'll post photos, everybody wins. Emma cut in, overlapping him. You make so much money. It's not like we're asking every year. Dad's baritone, the calm veneer. Sweetheart, there's no need to escalate. Let's be reasonable. You can afford this. I can afford a lot of things, I said. I'm choosing not to buy this. Then you're choosing not to be part of this family, Mom said, back on the line, iron in her silk. You're selfish. You always have been. I thought of birthdays when the three of us kids got envelopes. Jake's labeled for lessons, Emma's for experiences, mine for family. At 13, I used mine to fix a leaky pipe. At 16, I bought new tires so Dad could drive to work. Habit feels like love when you don't look closely. I took a breath. I've already canceled the dinner. I'm turning off the payments. I'll send screenshots. That's the end of this discussion. You can't, Emma snapped. I'll get evicted. You'll get a second job, I said, not unkindly. Jake, you'll figure your truck out. Mom, Dad, if you can't make the mortgage, you'll have to consider selling the country house. You know, the one I bought 6 years ago for your retirement. It's worth at least 80 grand now. Mom's voice flared. We're not selling the country house. Then you'll adjust. My thumb hovered over the last confirmation. I pressed it. The little confetti swirled again. I have work. Goodbye. I hung up to the sound of Jake's incredulous laugh, Emma's righteous inhale, Dad's quiet murmur, Mom's wounded silence. The shop felt even quieter afterward, the way a room does after someone stops playing a too loud radio. I took proper screenshots, payment cancellations, reservation refund, attached them to a single text, and dropped it into the family thread with one line. Since I'm so selfish and greedy, I figured you wouldn't want my money anymore. The phone began to strobe with incoming calls immediately. I turned it face down. In the stillness, I warmed my hands around the mug and looked again at the ledger. Sunfield Retreat. It rang no bell beyond a fuzzy memory of Mom once saying she had a spa membership upstate, but the numbers didn't look like spa money. I circled the line with a pencil and wrote, Ask later. One fire at a time. The music box sat stubborn and off-key. I loosened the screw, shortened the worn spring 2 millimeters, and tried again. The lilies on the lid caught the light as the melody, hesitant at first, found its path. Just before closing, my assistant poked her head in. Your folks, she whispered, nodding at the front windows. Their silhouettes hovered on the sidewalk, vague through the glass, not knocking yet, as if rehearsing how to be let back in. I switched the sign to closed and walked to the door. My reflection met theirs. For a moment, we were a weird family portrait. The dutiful daughter turned locksmith, the parents who had mistaken access for love, the habits that held us all like wire. I turned the deadbolt, pocketed the brass key, the same one that fit the music box, and set the alarm. Out on the street, Mom took a step forward, her mouth forming my name. I raised a hand once, not in farewell, not in invitation, something in between. I'm done being the bank, I told the quiet shop, and believed myself for the first time. The morning after I cut them off, my phone was a live wire. 47 missed calls, 14 voicemails, 100 text messages stacked in the notification bar like warning signs. I didn't open a single one. I poured coffee, sat by the window, and listened to the silence underneath the buzzing phone. It was the first time in years the noise wasn't mine to fix. By evening, silence gave way to pounding. Marceline, open the door! Through the glass, I saw them. Mom in her wool coat and pearls, Dad with his quiet frown, Jake with both hands jammed in his jacket pockets, Emma clutching a phone like it was a weapon. The porch light caught the fog, making their breath visible. I cracked the door. I don't want to talk to you. Mom pressed forward anyway, the same way she used to when I was a kid refusing vegetables. Please, honey, let's not make a scene. You made the scene, I said. You just changed the stage. Dad lifted a hand, peacemaker tone locked in. Let's talk inside, away from the neighbors. No, we can talk here. Behind him, Jake muttered, She's lost it. Jake, Mom hissed. Enough! He threw up his hands. I'm just saying. The porch boards creaked beneath all of us, our shared history groaning under weight. Mom started with tears. Your father and I didn't mean to hurt you. We were just excited. It's our 40th anniversary, and you know how sentimental your dad gets. Dad's frown deepened. We just thought, given your success, given my success, I should buy you luxury gifts you can't afford yourself? Mom's eyes flashed. You can afford it! That's not the point, I said. Then what is the point, Marceline? Emma snapped, stepping forward. You've always been the responsible one. You act like that's some punishment. You have money, they don't. Families help each other. Families don't assign one member to carry everyone else, I said quietly. Emma scoffed. You forgot where you came from. Her words struck harder than I wanted them to. I looked at her. Same freckles, same childhood face under the makeup. No, I said. You forgot where I came from. Same place as you. I just didn't stop climbing. Jake leaned against the porch post, half grinning. You sound like a motivational poster. Something in me flinched. I wanted to yell, to hurt him the way he was trying to hurt me, but I remembered the rule I'd promised myself last night. Control the tension, or the melody breaks. Do you even know how much I've paid for you all? I asked. Over $5,000 a month. That's a mortgage on a house, every 30 days, for years. Emma crossed her arms. So, now we're debts on a ledger? You made it one, I said. Mom started crying again, louder this time. Stop fighting, please, this isn't who we are. I almost laughed. Mom, this is exactly who we are. You just don't like the lighting. Dad stepped forward, voice low. Sweetheart, your mother's right. Let's calm down. We can figure something out. Maybe you pay just the mortgage for now, until things even out. Even out. That phrase hit like sandpaper. Even out what? My guilt? He sighed. You're twisting everything. And you're pretending not to understand basic math, I shot back. You've had your mortgage covered for 3 years, medical bills too. That's over $100,000. Where's all that money you saved? They exchanged a look, the kind couples use when they've rehearsed their story. We had expenses, Mom said vaguely. What kind of expenses? Her pause was too long. Jake cleared his throat. They helped me a few times when the truck needed work. Of course they did, I said. That's not the only drain, though, is it? Emma bit her lip, eyes darting to Dad. Marce, this isn't the time. Then when is it? Nobody answered. Mom finally whispered, You'll understand when you have kids. I had parents, I said. That was supposed to be enough. She flinched, and for a second I almost reached for her hand. Then she played her oldest card, hand pressed to her chest, a small gasp. Mom, I said flatly, I pay your cardiologist. You're fine. Her hand dropped. The yak cracked. Dad exhaled. You think you know everything. No, I said, just my limit. I noticed something else then, the way Emma avoided looking at me, how Jake's smirk faltered when I mentioned the saved money. A suspicion started forming, one I didn't yet have words for, but it hummed in the air between us like an untuned string. I'm serious, I said. If you're out of money, sell the country house. You'll still have this place. Mom stiffened. We can't. Why not? It's our retirement home, Dad said too quickly. Or, I said slowly, it's already making you money somehow. Emma's head snapped up. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing yet, I said, but I'll find out. Dad's jaw tightened. Don't threaten us. I'm not. I'm done. The porch light buzzed overhead. A moth circled the bulb until its wings singed. Mom started again, voice trembling. Please, honey, don't do this. We can work it out. There's nothing to work out, I said. You made it clear how you feel about me. Jake muttered, cold as ice. Boundaries aren't cold, I said. They're insulation. That's when the phone in my pocket started vibrating. Mrs. Ellery's name glowing on the screen. She was one of my oldest estate clients, sharp as ever at 80, the kind of woman who noticed every miscalculated comma in a contract. I let it go to voicemail. Mom took that pause as invitation. Just think about the anniversary, she said. We can do something smaller. Stop, I said. There's not going to be an anniversary anything. I'm out. Dad's face hardened. You'll regret this. Maybe, I said, and closed the door. Their voices blurred into muffled sound through the wood, pleading, swearing, crying. I leaned against it until the noise thinned, then walked upstairs. Later, after they'd left, I listened to Mrs. Ellery's voicemail. Marceline, darling, you remind me of myself once, mixing love and money and calling it generosity. When you write a check, you'd better have a policy to match, or you'll end up paying interest and resentment. Call me back. Her words landed heavy. A policy. The idea rolled around in my head like a coin. At 2 a.m., unable to sleep, I found myself digging through old files. I opened the mortgage documents I'd co-signed years ago before transferring the house payments into my own name. Scrolling, I caught something that shouldn't have been there. A secondary listing for the country property under a new name, Sunfield Retreat, LLC. The name from my ledger. The ink on the line was digital, an electronic signature, Emma's. The tea went cold beside me. My mind flashed back to the conversation on the porch, to the evasive looks, the sudden insistence they couldn't sell the house. They'd been renting it out, I thought, probably for years. And I, the family bank, was paying their bills while they quietly collected profit. I could almost hear the old music box downstairs, its tune catching on the same wrong note again. I knew what I'd have to do next. But for tonight, I just turned off the phone, drew the curtains, and sat in the dark, letting the porch light outside burn itself out. By the time dawn rolled across the windows, I'd already been at my desk 3 hours, fueled by coffee and something colder than caffeine. My inbox was a graveyard of apologies and guilt trips from the night before. I deleted them one by one until my finger ached. Then I opened my work email. Orders, invoices, actual life. For the first time in months, I could focus entirely on my business. The quiet was heavy but clean. That week, I threw myself into work. Estate sale in Madison. 3 truckloads of walnut furniture. A pair of collectors from Chicago fighting over a Victorian dining set. I watched them outbid each other until the total hit $18,000. I signed the sale papers with a steady hand, and when they left, I just sat there, breathing. The same hands that used to send thousands away every month were now holding on to something that stayed. By the end of the month, I'd saved over $5,000, money that used to vanish into the black hole labeled family. I transferred it to a new account and named it Freedom Fund. For a while, I could almost pretend the porch siege had been a bad dream. Until I opened my accounting app again and saw it, the recurring transfer to Sunfield Retreat, LLC. Every 30 days. Always the same amount. Always initiated by me. I stared at the line until the numbers started to blur. The account name wasn't random. It was registered through a rental management site. I followed the trail, clicking through login pages, old confirmations. Finally, there it was. Photos of the country house, fresh paint, new furniture, a caption that read, Quiet Luxury Getaway, Sunfield Retreat, hosted by Emma Drake. The listing had over 200 reviews. I laughed once, sharp and humorless. My family hadn't just refused to sell the country house. They'd been using it to make income, and never told me. Worse, they'd set the payments to funnel through my old automatic transfer system. I was literally funding their rental. That night, I could not concentrate. The music box sat open on my desk, its little gears exposed like a wound. At 10 p.m., my phone rang. Jake. For a second, I considered ignoring it. Then curiosity won. Hello? Hey, he said, tentative. Can we talk? Depends what about. Not money, he said quickly. I promise. That was new. Go on. I just wanted to say you were right, he said. About everything. About me. I was lazy. Expected you to bail me out. Silence stretched between us. You're still talking to Mom and Dad? I asked. Yeah, but it's different now. They're freaked out about money. Emma's taking it hard, though. Keeps saying she didn't mean to betray you. My grip tightened. What did she tell you? He hesitated. Look, she didn't think you'd ever notice the Sunfield thing. She said it started small, just trying to cover maintenance costs. And Mom told her not to worry because you were already paying the mortgage. Then the bookings picked up and they pocketed the profit, I finished. He exhaled. Yeah, I told her it was messed up. She cried for 2 hours. Good, I said. She should. Mars, don't burn the bridge completely. You're the only one who ever... I'm done being their safety net. I know, but just don't scorch the earth. Not yet. His tone wasn't defensive this time. It was tired, honest. Jake, I said quietly, are you okay? I'm managing. Picked up weekend deliveries. Trying to make the truck payment myself. It's not easy, but I'm doing it. For a moment, something like pride stirred in me. That's good, really. Anyway, he said, I just wanted to tell you I get it now. You weren't selfish. You were the only adult in the room. After we hung up, I sat there for a long time, staring at the phone. Then I pulled up the Sunfield retreat listing again and scrolled through the photos. Emma's smiling face in the profile picture, the cheerful description about family-run comfort. The word family burned in my chest like acid. The next evening, I invited her to the shop. She arrived near closing time, wearing her work blazer and nervous eyes. "Hey," she said cautiously. "Hey, sit down." She perched on a chair across from my desk, hands twisting. "I'm going to ask this once," I said. "Why is my name on an account that sends money to your rental business?" Her face went pale. "Oh my God, you found out." "I did. It wasn't supposed to be a secret," she started. "It just got complicated." "Start from the beginning." She swallowed hard. "After you bought the country house, Mom said I should list it on Airbnb to keep it active. She said if I made a little money, it would go to taxes and upkeep. But when you started covering the mortgage, she said I could just keep running it. She called it my practice business." "Practice," I repeated. "I swear I didn't mean to steal from you. I was just—" "Comfortable?" She winced. "Scared. You're so capable, Mars. Everything you touch turns stable. I just wanted to feel like I could do something right, too." The admission hit different than I expected. I'd braced for arrogance, not fear. "How long?" I asked. 2 years. I leaned back. 2 years, Emma, and neither you nor Mom thought to mention it?" Tears filled her eyes. "We thought you'd be angry." "You were right." She nodded, silent. I could have screamed, could have called the lawyer, canceled the listing, exposed the lie. Instead, I heard Mrs. Ellery's voicemail in my head. "When you mix love and money, write a policy before a check." "You have 30 days, I said. "Fix it. Transfer everything legally to your name. Remove mine from any record that connects me to that business. Or I go public, and the IRS can sort the rest." She nodded again, crying quietly. "I'm sorry." "I don't want sorry," I said. "I want clean books." When she left, the air in the shop felt heavy. I turned the key on the music box, half expecting it to seize again. Instead, it played clean, the shortened spring making the rhythm sharper. I sat with that sound, the tick of precision, the cost of tightening. 3 nights later, an envelope arrived in the mail, a notice of foreclosure copy addressed to my parents, CC'd to me because my name still lingered on the old payment records. They had 30 days to pay the arrears or lose the house. I stared at the date, 30 days, the same deadline I'd given Emma. The melody from the music box faded behind me, soft and final, like a countdown beginning. The next morning, my phone rang before sunrise. Dad's name lit up the screen. I almost ignored it. Almost. "Marceline," his voice rasped when I picked up. "We need to talk." "You mean the foreclosure letter?" I asked. A long pause. "You saw it." "I did." "We're coming by," he said. "Please, just listen." By the time I opened the shop that morning, the front windows were fogged with cold. 10 minutes later, their old Honda pulled up. Mom got out first, wrapped in a coat too thin for the weather, clutching her purse like it might anchor her. Dad followed, eyes shadowed and sleepless. "Can we sit?" he asked. I gestured to the chairs across from my desk. 5 minutes. Mom's lips trembled as she spoke. "We can't make the payments anymore. The bank's threatening to take the house." "I know," I said. "I read the letter." Dad leaned forward. "We're not asking for handouts. We just need a little help catching up. We'll pay you back." "You won't," I said quietly. "Because you never have." The silence stretched, brittle. Mom's tears started early this time. "Marceline, don't talk to us like we're strangers. We're your parents." I folded my arms. "You stopped being my responsibility the day you decided my money was a family policy." Dad sighed. "That's not fair. We took a loan on the house years ago, a HELOC. We thought we could pay it off with rental income from the country place." The word loan hit like cold water. "How much?" "70,000, he said. "Maybe a little more, with interest." "And when exactly were you going to tell me that?" Mom flinched. "We didn't want to worry you." I laughed, a short, harsh sound. "You didn't want to worry the person paying all your bills?" Dad rubbed his temples. "We made a mistake." "No," I said. "You made a plan. You just didn't think I'd find out." They stared at the floor. I stood, walked to the locked display case, and pulled out the small brass music box I'd been restoring. Its tune played low, almost mournful. "You know what this is worth?" I asked. Dad looked confused. "A few hundred, maybe?" "Try 5,000, I said. "Restored, authenticated, 19th century. I know every piece of its history." I closed the lid. "Can you say the same about yours?" Mom's sob broke the moment. "We never meant to hurt you." I didn't believe her, until I looked up and saw her hand shaking. Not theatrical this time, real. Then tell me where the money went, I said. She hesitated, then whispered, I pawned Granddad's pocket watch. My stomach dropped. What? It was supposed to be temporary, she said quickly. Emma needed help with rent last year. The bank wouldn't give us another extension. I thought I'd buy it back after the rental season. My throat burned. That watch had been promised to me since childhood. The only thing of Granddad's I'd ever wanted. You pawned it without telling me? She nodded, eyes wet. I was desperate. I wanted to hate her, but what came instead was exhaustion. Dad cleared his throat. We can fix this. If we sell the country place, pay off the loan. You will sell it, I interrupted. That's not a discussion. Mom's head snapped up. No, that's our retirement home. I leaned across the desk. Then retire there after you sell this one, because you can't keep both. The air grew sharp between us. Dad tried again. Can't you just lend us the difference? We'd pay you back once the rental income picks up again. Rental income? I repeated. You mean the one illegally listed in Emma's name? They froze. I let the silence hang until it hurt. You see, I did my homework. The house is listed under Sunfield Retreat, LLC. Emma's the registered host. I'm the legal owner. That means I carry the tax burden. You've been making money under my name. Dad's jaw tensed. Emma didn't mean. Stop defending her. You taught her this pattern. He looked like I'd slapped him. Mom's voice was barely a whisper. We thought you wouldn't notice. That's the problem, I said. You thought I'd never notice because you assumed I'd keep paying forever. I picked up my notebook and flipped to a clean page. So here's what's going to happen. Dad frowned. Marceline. Quiet, I said. My tone surprised even me. I wrote as I spoke. 1. You will list the country house for sale within 45 days. The proceeds go toward paying off the HELOC. 2. Emma files an amendment transferring the rental business fully into her name. I'll connect her with my CPA. 3. You retrieve Granddad's watch or replace its value before the sale closes. 4. You stop asking me for money. Ever. Mom stared at the paper as I wrote. You're making it sound like a contract. It is a contract, I said, because you've proven you can't be trusted with goodwill. Dad's jaw flexed. You can't treat your own family like a business. I already did, I said. You just never signed anything. For a moment, the only sound was the music box ticking beside us. Then Dad exhaled, long and low. If this is what it takes to make peace, we'll sign. He took the pen. Mom hesitated, eyes red and swollen. Marceline, please, she whispered. We raised you. Doesn't that count for something? It did, I said, until you sold the only thing that reminded me of where we came from. Her hand shook as she pressed the pen to paper. The signature came out uneven, like a heartbeat skipping. I folded the page, placed it in a small brass cash box, and locked it with the same key that wound the music box. Dad stood. We'll figure it out. You have 45 days, I said. Mom reached across the desk for my hand, but I pulled back. Don't touch me with guilt, Mom. Not today. She nodded slowly, as if something in her had finally run out of steam. When they left, the shop door closed with a soft chime. Through the glass, I watched their silhouettes retreat to the car, 2 smaller shapes than I remembered. Later that night, I called Mrs. Ellery. She listened without interruption as I told her everything. When I finished, she said, Good girl. It's not cruelty to set the terms of love. It's clarity. Her words lingered long after the call ended. I went to the display shelf, wound the music box, and listened. The melody was clean again. No skipped notes, no grinding gears. I took that as a sign. The next 45 days would decide whether this family learned how to rebuild or finally broke for good. 45 days later, I stood inside my new storefront, the second location of Drake Antiques and Restoration, and watched the winter light slide across a line of polished oak tables. The smell of lemon oil and dust felt like victory. It had taken months of hard lessons to get here, but I had finally built something stable that didn't depend on anyone else's chaos. The country house had sold a week earlier, $86,000 after closing costs. Dad called me the morning after the sale, his voice quieter than I'd ever heard it. You were right, he said. It's better this way. I'd expected relief in his tone, maybe gratitude. What I heard instead was age. Real, heavy, unvarnished age. We paid off the HELOC, he continued. The bank's off our backs. That's good, I said. I'm glad. Emma handled most of it, he added. Your CPA was a lifesaver. We signed everything she sent. For the first time in years, I let out a genuine breath. 2 days later, I got another call, this time from Emma. Everything's official, she said. Sunfield Retreat is under my name now. Taxes, earnings, all of it. Good, I said. I also paid the IRS fee. There was a small penalty. How small? $400. I smiled despite myself. I'll cover it. Consider it tuition. You don't have to. I know, but it'll close the loop. A pause. Then she said, I've been thinking about you a lot. Dangerous habit. She laughed softly. I deserve that. Look, Mars, I'm sorry. Not just for the house thing, for letting them make you the villain. I didn't realize how much pressure we put on you until I had to carry my own bills. That's called adulthood, I said gently. Yeah, she said. Turns out it's exhausting. We both laughed, the kind of laugh that sounds like breathing after too long underwater. That weekend, the family contract hit its deadline. The country house was sold, the HELOC erased, Emma's business clean. I thought that would be the end. But on Saturday morning, as I was rearranging a case of restored pocket watches, I heard the soft jingle of the door chime. Mom and Dad stepped in together. Hi, sweetheart, Mom said carefully. I stayed behind the counter. You here to browse or buy? Dad held up a small box, to return something. He set it on the counter and slid it toward me. Inside was Granddad's pocket watch, polished, gleaming, ticking steady. I bought it back, Mom whispered. Pawn ticket was still active. Cost me half of what we made from the sale, but I couldn't let that be the end of the story. I lifted the watch, thumb brushing the engraving on the back. To Thomas Drake, time well spent. For a long moment, I couldn't speak. Thank you, I said finally. Dad cleared his throat. We've been taking on small bookkeeping jobs. I'm consulting for my old firm again. It's not much, but it's honest. That's good, I said quietly. Mom nodded. We're learning. I believed her, for once. She glanced around the shop, eyes softening. This place is beautiful, Mars. It's peaceful, I said. Dad smiled faintly. You always did like order. Someone had to. They laughed, and for the first time in years, it didn't sound defensive. When they left, Mom hugged me lightly, the way you touch something fragile that might still heal. We love you, she said. I know, I replied. I just needed you to start loving yourselves too. 2 weeks later, Jake came by the new shop. He wore work boots and carried a toolbox. I heard you're hiring, he said. I might be, I said. Know anyone qualified? He grinned. Depends on your standards. You planning to work for me? If you'll have me. I've been taking restoration classes. Turns out I'm decent at fixing old things. That runs in the family, I said. I don't want any special treatment, he added quickly. No family discount, no pity. I'll earn whatever you pay. I studied him. The cocky posture was gone, replaced by something steadier. All right, I said. Trial period, 2 weeks. You mess up, you clean it. He saluted. Yes, boss. As he turned to leave, I called after him. Jake? He glanced back. I'm proud of you. He smiled, eyes glinting. Took me long enough to deserve that. The next few weeks passed in a blur. Emma sent photos of her new apartment. Small, sunlit, paid for entirely by her. Mom texted a picture of Dad's new consulting setup. His old desk, neatly organized, with a sticky note that read, Budget equals reality. The messages didn't come with demands, just updates, and that was enough. On the night before the shop's grand opening, I stayed late, arranging the final display. In the center of the front table sat the music box, its wood gleaming under warm light. I wound it once, gently, and listened as the melody filled the air. No skipped notes, no grind. Just clear, delicate sound. The door opened behind me. I didn't have to turn to know who it was. Mom, Dad, Jake, and Emma stepped inside, all of them in quiet awe. This is yours, Dad said softly. No, I said, smiling. It's ours. Just balanced. Mom wiped her eyes. We brought something else. She handed me a sealed envelope. Inside was a handwritten letter. We're sorry for confusing love with dependency, for asking you to carry us when we should have walked beside you. We're learning to stand again. Thank you for teaching us how. Tears blurred the words before I reached the end. Keep it, Mom said, so you remember we can change. I looked at all of them, my complicated, imperfect, still-standing family, and felt something unclench inside me. Jake leaned on the counter. So when's training start? Tomorrow, I said. Bring gloves. They laughed, and for once, it wasn't brittle. It was full. Later that night, after locking the doors, I stood in the glow of the new shop. The music box played one last time, the tune soft but unwavering. I slipped Granddad's pocket watch into my coat pocket, felt its steady tick against my heart, and whispered to the empty room. Time well spent. Then I turned off the lights.